I saw an unknown man sitting in my room when I unlocked the door. I returned from the supermarket that day with all the groceries I needed for the week. Carrying them up the stairs, I wanted to avoid any attention or interruptions. I picked a time after 10 a.m. on a weekday when most people in the small town Jordan Bay, on Australia's eastern coast, would be at work. As I opened the front door to my studio apartment, I was surprised to see a young boy, around 18 years old, sitting on my bed. I was taken aback. This incident marked a turning point in my life, leading to the most significant event that unfolded. Please watch until the end to discover what transpired thereafter. My name is Elena, and I work in a popular TV series. I aspire to act in movies as well, but have had little success yet. Alongside my acting career on the small screen, I have also established a small following on social media, where I interact with my fans. Oh, and did I mention, I'm a writer too? I actually wrote the TV drama that I act in. My mother passed away while I was in college. When I relocated to another city for work, there was no one at home, except my father. I was so caught up in building my career and connecting with my followers that I lost touch with my dad for months. Then, one day, a shocking piece of news changed everything. My dad had been sick and hospitalized for weeks, but there was no one to notify me. When the hospital finally called, I realized it was his final moments. I felt helpless and full of regret, blaming my busy work schedule. I sat by his bedside, watching him struggle to speak. He was so weak. Elena, I was supposed to tell you this, but I didn't realize my time would come so soon, he managed to say. I love you, but I need to tell you that I am not your biological father. Your mother became pregnant from an unfortunate one-night stand, and I promised her that I would love you no matter what. Your biological father's name was Mr. Thompson, from Jordan Bay, but I can't remember his first name. And with that, he took his last breath, unable to recall the missing detail. I was devastated, not because I didn't know the complete identity of my biological father, but I had lost the man who loved me more deeply than any real father ever could. After the funeral, I returned to my set, where the second season was set to begin. However, I received the shocking news that the second season had been cancelled. The director believed that the storyline was weak and feared that it would tarnish the reputation of the first season if presented to the viewers. Naturally, I was disappointed. Thankfully, I wasn't the writer of the second season. Shortly after, the director called me and asked, Elena, do you think we made the right decision by not going with that awful story? I managed to force a smile and replied, of course, David. Meanwhile, my mind was already wondering where I could find another role. To my surprise, the director then made a suggestion. He proposed that I take on the responsibility of writing the second season. The producer had already approved an advance payment for this endeavor. He jotted down a number on a writing pad, and my eyes widened as I realized how much they were willing to pay me. He said, Elena, we believe 3 months should be sufficient. You can take a few more months, if needed. In that moment, an idea sparked in my mind. Why not go to Jordan Bay, rent a house, and spend my time writing there? It's a charming coastal town that happens to be where my biological father is from. Perhaps I could try and find him. Is it possible? As planned, I rented an Airbnb studio apartment. Before I began my search for my biological father, I decided to check the white pages. Even in a small town, there were over 100 Thompsons listed. My mind went blank. Should I call each one of them, one by one? And what would I even ask? I don't even know his first name. And what are the chances that my biological father, Mr. So-called Thompson, is still living in Jordan Bay? How many people do I need to convince to take a DNA test with me? This seems impossible, I muttered to myself. Elena, focus on your acting career and writing. You have been blessed with both talents. I set everything up to work as usual and started writing. I had already finished writing the story for season 1, and the director was expecting the same level of enchantment for the next season. This was my only chance to secure another role. But no brilliant ideas came to mind. I would occasionally turn on my laptop and sit in front of the blank screen for hours. I also approached a few producers for roles, but none of them panned out. I decided to take a break and forget about the pressure to write a story. Whatever happened would be acceptable to me. Instead of opening my laptop, I spent my time reading fiction. I visited the local library to indulge in my favorite books without having to spend any money on buying them. Some people recognized me, especially the lady at the library counter. One day, she said to me, "You look just like the film actor, Elena. Has anyone else ever told you that?" I smiled at her, but didn't give a response. She surely hadn't seen my library card, otherwise, she would have known that I was the real Elena. From that day on, whenever someone approached me, thinking I was the film actor Elena, I would simply tell them that I am rather her look-alike. I started frequenting the local coffee shop in the mornings and afternoons for my coffee fix. However, I made it a point to visit different shops to avoid being recognized by the staff. One day, while I was sitting at a table, I noticed a group of elderly ladies nearby. They seemed to glance at me and whispering among themselves. I had a feeling that they recognized me as Elena. Suddenly, one lady approached me and said, "Excuse me, dear, may I say something?" I placed my coffee mug on the table and looked up, eager to hear what she had to say. I debated whether I should reveal that I was indeed the actress Elena. She continued, "We have a friend here. You bear a striking resemblance to her." My eyes scanned the faces of all the ladies at the table, but none of them looked like me. The lady pointed towards a woman and said, "That's Helen. She used to look just like you when she was your age. Even now, your nose, lips, and eyes resemble hers." I asked her if she had a long-lost daughter, and you could be her. Helen greeted me with a friendly hello, and I responded in kind. I stood up to shake her hand, said, "I'm pretty certain I'm not your long-lost daughter, as I know my actual mother. Unfortunately, she has passed away. However, I am searching for my father, who I have never known." Helen chuckled softly, her laughter tinged with a mixture of amusement and nostalgia. "No, I don't have a daughter," she replied. When I returned that afternoon and unlocked the front door of my studio apartment, to my surprise, there was a schoolboy sitting on my bed. Instantly panicked, I hurriedly ran out of the room, wondering how someone could have entered without my knowledge. I quickly reached for my phone and dialed 000, the emergency number for the police. Just as I was about to make the call, the boy emerged from the room and took hold of my hand. "I'm sorry, ma'am," he apologized. "Please don't call the police. I'm actually your fan." The word fan managed to slightly calm my nerves. As a struggling actor, with only one successful show under my belt, having a fan following was indeed a luxury. I stared at him intently and asked, "How did you know I was here?" A familiar smile formed on his lips as he explained, "I follow you on Instagram. You mentioned being in Jordan Bay and even posted a photo of this apartment building." I took a deep breath, realizing that I had unintentionally shared too much information. "I should call the police," I insisted, glaring at him. "You could have simply asked for my autograph outside. How did you manage to break into my room?" "Please, ma'am, don't do that," he pleaded. "My dad actually owns this house. When I found out you were here, I took the spare keys and came inside. But I promise, I didn't disturb anything. I've been coming here every day since school holidays started, just sitting on your chair and then leaving. Has anything been stolen or missing?" It dawned on me that he had been regularly visiting this apartment in my absence. What kind of fan was he? "Please leave," I commanded firmly, "and if I ever find you here again, I will report you to the police." As I stepped into the flat, a fresh worry crossed my mind. What if the boy returned? I needed to change the lock, but I couldn't do it without the owner's permission. I retrieved a copy of the contract and found the owner's name and phone number. Stephen Thompson, mobile number. I dialed his number and asked if I could meet him. He happened to be in the adjacent building. Steve Thompson turned out to be a kind-hearted man. He led me to the living room and invited me to have a seat. I apologized for my son's behavior. "He has promised me he won't repeat his actions," he said, as soon as I sat down. I had come to complain about his son, but it seemed like he already knew. "How did you find out?" I asked. "He came and confessed to me. He assured me he won't do it again." A sense of relief washed over me. Such a sweet boy, realizing his mistake and confessing to his father. I no longer needed to ask for permission to change the lock. I asked him, "By the way, Mr. Thompson, I have a question, but only if you promise not to take offense." "Go ahead," he replied. "Do you know a woman named Isabella? She was my mother, and she passed away many years ago." Steve stood up from his chair and exclaimed, "You're Isabella's daughter? Were you born in 1998? "Yes. My stepfather, who also adopted me, passed away 2 months ago. He told me that my biological father's name was Mr. Thompson, but he couldn't remember the first name before he died." Steve came over to me and embraced me tightly. "Helena, you're my daughter. Yesterday, my mother mentioned that she had seen a woman who resembled her younger self. You look so much like my mother, it's unbelievable." "She's your mother?" I asked in astonishment. "Yes," Steve chuckled. "And your wife?" I inquired. "We're divorced. I live here with my only son." The main door swung open, revealing the familiar figure of the boy. He stood there, clearly taken aback. "Liam," Steve spoke up, breaking the silence, "this is your sister, Helena." "My sister?" I did not know my mother had another child. Liam exclaimed. "No, Liam, she is from a different mother, someone I knew before I married your mom." "This is my first time meeting her as well," Steve clarified. I rose from my seat and embraced Liam. "I'm sorry, my dear brother," I said to him, "but I'm happy to have such a wonderful sibling." "Thanks," Liam replied, stepping back from the hug. "Bro, I asked. You saw my room yesterday. Would you mind showing me yours? He couldn't refuse and flashed a weak smile. I entered his room and was taken aback. Every wall was adorned with photos of me. What's all this? I asked, puzzled. His voice was filled with uncertainty as he explained, I didn't know you were my sister. I watch your shows, and I'm a fan. So, I put up all the photos. He looked down, as if expecting his older sister to be angry with him. I hugged him once again, reassuringly. No, bro, I'm not angry. I love the fact that my brother enjoys my work. It was truly the most beautiful day of my life. This story is written by S.A. Spencer, the author of thrillers, The Pink Mutiny, and The Black Waters. The Pink Mutiny is now available on Amazon for free. The Black Waters is available at a discounted price now. Links to both the books have been given in the description box below. Also, please do not forget to subscribe and like this video, so that we will bring more such interesting stories. We would also like to read your comments in the comments section below.